It's season 2 of APLCrafts, y'all. Oh my god. Hey! And of course, my hair is always... Hey! It's season 2 of APLCrafts. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm going to do this for another year. I can't believe I did this for a year. Okay, well, I'll tell you right now, I have no show notes, so I don't know how this is going to go. Ditziness abounds, but then when did ditziness not abound? I don't know. I have so much stuff to talk about today, I don't even know where to start. I should probably maybe do a little bit of admin, right? Okay, so looking at the past year and all of my videos, I'm all over the place. I don't think that's going to change. I can't do consistency. So that being said, this podcast is not going to be for everyone, but then what podcast is for everyone? So, you know, hey, if you like inconsistent ditziness and stuff that's all over the place, then this place is for you. What else? Hold that thought. So since this is the beginning of season 2, I think I should probably reintroduce myself for everybody who's new. My name is Alicia. I live outside of Nashville, Tennessee with my husband and 2 kids and my cats. And my cats stay very far away from my craft room, so because, you know, cat hair and stuff. We just recently moved, so you'll probably see the background change a whole lot, pretty much like the last few episodes. What else? I crochet, I knit, and I'm a yarn dyer. I don't usually talk too much about, I shouldn't say I don't talk about it. I don't usually like show skeins of yarn all that much. I will a little bit today. I do use some of my rejects in my projects. So while I sell those same colors in my shop, they're going to be a little different here because they're not good enough for the shop, which is why they're called rejects. So they're going to be a little off. But if you like those, then you'll probably like the ones that are in the shop because they'll be better, right? I think that's really... Oh, I've been dyeing for a year. What else do you need to know or should know? I think that's it. Yeah, so I've been primarily knitting, so most of what I show will be knitting, but there'll always be a little bit of crochet in there somewhere. Like I've got some crochet going on today, which I guess I'll get started with my projects, all my finished projects. So 3 years ago, a friend of mine gave me this big bag of yarn, as you know, sometimes happens to us. And there is this homespun yarn. I think it's from Lion brand. Yeah. A lot of people like it. I don't particularly like it. It is not my cup of tea. I think it's hard to work with. I don't even want to try knitting with it. I can crochet with it, but it's a pain, and you know, I have to use a bigger hook and all that. Well, I'm trying to go through my stash because it's starting to build up. And, you know, we do have to work through our stash, even though yarn buying is awesome and stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, let me get all this homespun together and see what I can do with it, right? And I had a whole bunch of this white. And I don't know if you'll be able to see. There's got gold lurex in there. Yeah, you can kind of see it, like, in there. And so I'm making this shawl. I'm just making a normal granny stripe. Actually, it's not even granny stripe. It's just a bunch of double crochets. Triangle shawl. It's just a basic triangle shawl. And I have to say that even though I don't like this yarn, and I probably won't ever buy this yarn, it makes a squishy shawl. Like, oh my goodness. For something that is such a pain for me to work, it came out so nice. I probably shouldn't love on this too much. I want to sell this. I'll wash it. Don't worry. But it's so pretty. So I was like, okay, well, this could work for like weddings or like for a christening or grandma, grandpa, somebody, new mom, whatever. You could probably even wrap a baby in this. It's pretty big. I don't even know what the wingspan is. Let's see. My wingspan is, let's see, I'm 59 inches tall, so I think my wingspan is like a 61. So this is like 66 inches, maybe 68 inches across. So it's a decent size, I think. But it's nice and cushy, and I was quite surprised. I'll put it that way. Quite surprised. So I had more of this color. Not this color, this yarn, because that wasn't all of it. I actually I think I had maybe altogether 10 skeins and I used 6. So, you know, I still made a pretty good dent. So I went through and I have tons of this blue color, right? This, it's not really, it's like an aqua kind of blue. And so I'm going through and I was like, well, let me start with this color, because this was in a ball. Okay, so I had this ball of yarn, and you know, somebody just kind of wound it. I'm like, okay, and this is the only color I see, right? It's this blue and white. So I'm working it, and then it goes to a green, and then it goes to a yellow, and then this red, and I'm going, hey, I have a rainbow. So I don't think I did that, because like I said, I got this, it was given to me 3 years ago, and I don't remember doing that. So I think somebody else did that and just threw it into the bag. Either way, it worked out, because then there was this pink yarn in there. And then I used up whatever I had left of that white, and then all this blue, and then it turned out, so you know, I'm making a scrappy shawl, and it actually turned out pretty cool. So, and this is just like for me to hang out with at home, to keep the chill off. But it came out pretty cool. I'm excited. And I think it's about the same size, about 68 inches across, something like that. So yeah, pleasantly surprised at how they came out. Still won't buy it, not for me. But if you're one of those people who likes homespun, make it in a shawl and see how you like it. Actually, I think it would probably be good for a baby blanket too. It's really squishy if you do nothing but double crochets every row, because this has, you know, there's a lot of holes in here. But if you do like all double crochets like in that row, it'll probably make a decent blanket as well. Speaking of crochet, so Thanksgiving of 2017, I watched an episode from Jada and Stitches using up scrap yarn, because you know, you get scrap yarn with all these projects that we make. And so she has this recipe on her YouTube where you just like, you double or triple strand just different colors together. You know, like actually I have a bunch of colors in here, so I'll show you. Like, let's see, we have a black and we have a brown. So like, you're just crocheting, you know, 2 different colors together, and then one runs out, just add another one until the other one runs out, and you just keep adding until, you know, you have no more yarn. And even though like I'm using scraps, I like to try to keep a little bit of order going on. So I started, this is all I got in 2 years, because I literally only work on this thing like once or twice a year. And I actually took it out because I'm still in the middle of unpacking, as you do when you move. And I took it out, and I'm like, I'm going to put this in front of me and actually try to work on it more than twice this year. We'll see how that goes. I worked at it at the end of last year, and I worked on it a few weeks ago. So the time in between working it is already getting closer. So as long as I keep it in front of my face, you know, I like to crochet when the weather's been really crappy. Because it's just eases my brain, I guess. But anyway, tangent. So I started out with purple, like purple colors and pinks and whatever, and moved to like, you know, more purples and stuff. And then I got into, I don't know what this is, maroon. Oh my God, you can't really see. Oh, let me stand up. Okay, so you got like maroons and oranges and yellows and greens. And, you know, so I'm just kind of keeping color sections together. Not really rainbowing it, but I just want to keep the colors together. So when I'm done with, like, right now I'm working on blues. And then when I'm done with every single shade of blue that's in my bag, I'll see what else I have. I also have like a big vacuum pack thing full of like scrap projects that I'm never going to use and that kind of stuff. And I'm just going to unravel it and work it in this. Like this thing. I don't even know what this was supposed to be. But it's going to get unraveled because what am I going to use this for? And it's going to go in the blanket. This thing, I think was supposed to be a headband, like for a baby or something. I don't know. Not doing anything with it. I'm going to unravel it, stick it in the blanket. This was from back when I was first learning how to knit. So it's a little swatch. I think it's just stockinette. So I'm going to unravel it and stick it in the blanket. I have a whole lot of stuff like that from when I first started out. It's all going to go in here in color sections. And, you know, I'm usually not one for like crocheted scrap stuff, but lately it's been, you know, getting my attention. And I wasn't liking this blanket at first, which I think is why I only worked on it a couple times a year. But then I took a picture of it and stuck it on my project page, and I'm looking at it and I'm going, that's actually kind of pretty. So I'm going to keep going. I don't know what I'm going to do with it or how long it's going to be. It's not very wide. I would say maybe 64 inches wide. No, 62 inches wide. So a lap blanket maybe, or it's really thick, like it's not drapey at all. So it wouldn't make a very good wrap. So yeah, definitely more like a lap blanket or something of that nature. I might even let the cats have it. I don't know. No, that's too much work. I'm not gonna let the cats have it. The cats will ruin it. That's not a good idea. Alright, so that's it for the crochet. Another finished object that I have is what I'm wearing. Now, if you watched the last few episodes, I'm doing this year-long knit-along with Wet Coast Wool. Not with. They're hosting it. I'm playing along. And one of the things on there was a 1,000 meter project. So I dug out my Karen cakes, and this color is white truffle. And I made my sleeves too short. I didn't have a pattern. I just threw together a bottom-up sweater. So I'll stand up. So I did some 3x3 ribbing and then just worked it all the way up. Here's the back. And split for the sleeves. I wasn't actually trying to get this neck to be this boat-like, but I actually kind of like it. You know, we have like 2 months of winter in Tennessee. So, you know, I just wanted something that would keep the chill off, because we keep the temperature pretty low, especially having moved into a 2-floor house now. Bills, y'all, you know, and the electricity is not cheap here. So it used to be, but not anymore, because we have, you know, 75 to 100 people a day still moving to Nashville. Anyway. But I didn't make my arms long enough. And, okay, so let me tell you the story about this hot mess, right? So I split for the sleeves, but I guess I didn't make this deep enough, because when I went to go pick it up, you know, with the needle, it was so small that I couldn't get my arm through. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not going to work. And the only way I could figure out how to work it was to crochet around the opening, like the armhole, and then pick up with my needle. And so that's why it looks like this. But, you know, it's like that on both sides. So design feature, maybe? I don't know. And then apparently I used more of this light brown color for, I guess I used that for this. because this one is obviously longer and I never even got the dark gray like I did here. But I'm seriously only going to wear this in the house, so I really don't care all that much. If you look on my project page, end of last year, I made another bottom-up sweater, no pattern, just to get rid of some Knit Picks Brava Sport. And I don't know what was up with my gauge, but it was bad. So like that sweater was like from here to like here, and it was riding up here. And it's just like, my battery's dying. I'll get back to that sweater story in a minute. Okay, back now. I believe I was talking about the sweater, the brown sweater. So I think I was talking about the gauge of the brown sweater and how it went all the way out to here. Oh yeah, wardrobe change. We'll get to that later. So I went with originally on the brown sweater, the gauge that I would get for a hat. And usually for I think that was a sport weight yarn. I don't even remember what the gauge was, but I used that for a shirt. Apparently you can't do that. So basically what I do, which is probably not the best thing to do, I just get a notebook and I usually have to restart a sweater a few times, like I did with this one, and wardrobe change because the sun is coming in and it's hot. So what I learned with this one, because that one was just, that brown sweater was a really big hot mess. What I did with this one was I did the same thing with the gauge. Well, actually, no, I made a swatch. Yeah. So I did 10.5, US 10.5 needles, and I just made like a little half-ass swatch, and went with that, and I was getting, I think it was 18 stitches. Yeah, 18 stitches for 4 inches. And that was making this sweater like from here all the way out to like way here. And I got like this far in and I was like, no, that's not gonna work. Ripped it all back. And then I was like, well, actually I measured the gauge in that before I ripped it back, just because that was gonna be the most accurate thing. And I was like, okay, well, if I'm getting 16 stitches, I mean, I don't know what I did with my math, but I was getting 16 stitches for 4 inches. I think I was measuring wrong and giving myself way too much positive ease. I don't know. But I cut it back, but I overcorrected and did 14 stitches for 4 inches. And I may have actually, I feel like I mentioned this in the last episode. I'm not sure. And that ended up being too skinny. So 3 times the charm, right? So this one is 48 inches, and it's, I don't want to say it's snug. It's comfortable, like kind of like a t-shirt, but in sweater form. I'll put it that way. So it worked out. And what I did, where's the back? Did a little bit of short row in the back so that it sits nice on the neck, back of the neck, and yeah, oh, 3 needle bind off for the shoulders. I don't know if you can see it. 3 needle bind off for the shoulders so that it does one of these jobbers, which looks nice on the outside. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about the sweater. If I had to do this again, and really I'm kind of contemplating actually, because I didn't knot the tail on the arms, I might actually just take the tail out, rip it back, and then make a longer 3x3 rib, or knit this section longer and then do the rib. But I don't know. I'm kind of in the air about that, because really this sweater is just going to be for in the house, just to keep the chill off. So I don't know if I want to go through all that, because if I was going to wear it like outside, yeah, I know I would definitely rip it back to fix that, but I'm probably not going to do that here. Another thing for the knit along that I'm doing was finish a unfinished object. So a while ago I was talking about this shirt, right? This shirt has been the bane of my existence. Oh my god. So I don't know why. I really don't think it's the pattern. I would think my biggest problem, and I don't know if it'll pick up. Yeah, it picks up. Okay, so you see all those chevron type stitches, right? I really think my problem is the going back and forth between the knits and the purls, and then it's just, you know, you have to keep going back because you did too many purls, and you have to keep going back because you did too many knits. And so, like, I think I did this 3 times. So the first time I did this shirt, it was too long, like too wide. I had to rip it back. Second time I did it, yeah, this was the second time. So like it's supposed to have that same pattern on the back, and obviously I didn't do that because I just got fed up. I was fed up from the beginning. And then I partially ripped back the V part because I wasn't, the splitting for the sleeves and for the V-neck part, it wasn't working out. So what I did, I ripped that back, did it again, lifelined it over here just in case I had to rip it back a 4th time. And at that point I was just, you know, I thought I was finished, and then it was like seriously bunched up in the back and not working here, and the arm was like all the way up, like the hole was all the way up here, and I sat it in a corner and I was like, I can't look at this. It sat there for like a month. I was like, forget it. Because I thought I was going to have to frog back to the lifeline again, and I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. And then an epiphany came to me, maybe a week and a half ago, that, you know, I tried it on again and really took a look to see, do I have to rip all the way back here, or can I just correct it from here? And yay, that's all I had to do. So I just, what I'm learning with garment knitting, at least for the bottom ups, is when I am binding off on the shoulders, I don't, like, after I weave in my ends, like sometimes I like to split the yarn and then knot it so that it'll never come out. I don't do that anymore, just in case I have to rip anything out. I'm glad I did that, because then I was able to pick off the shoulders, go down about like an inch, not even an inch, like maybe a ½ inch on both sides, knit more so that the armhole is bigger, and then this part is right. And then I did a little bit of short row shaping, which is not in the pattern. Well, this isn't in the pattern anyway. So I modified this, but then I also did the short row shaping in the back a little bit for the neck. And then, did I do a 3 needle? Yeah, I did a 3 needle bind off on the shoulders and blocked it, and that was it. And it's great. Now, this is superwash. This yarn is one of a kind from the Golden Pearls. They're on Etsy. I believe it was called Flirting is Part of My Heritage. And what I do is superwash, because it was not like this before I blocked it. A lot of people talk about how it stretches out, so I always factor that in when I'm doing bottom up. So like my torso to like here is 16 inches. I don't like my shirts at 16 inches. I like them at 17 or 18. But I do it at 16 because I know after I block it, I'm going to get those extra 2 inches. So it ends up draping perfectly and fitting on my body perfectly for me to do that. So as long as I factor in that I'm going to get an extra, 1 to 2 inches after blocking, it's fine. And that's exactly what happened. So, if you've been watching YouTube, you probably saw those commercials for the corsets, you know, or they've got women with actual flag, you know, like this, and getting the little body shapers on. And I was like, usually I don't watch commercials, but I saw that and I was like, okay, this commercial is being real. So guess who bought one of those body shapers? I'm so glad I did, because it really does make these shirts look better, you know. So I wasn't liking the way this was fitting, right? And so I got that, it came in the mail, I put it on and got my jeans on, went in the mirror, you know, and I was like, oh, that actually looks pretty good. Okay, I'm happy with this shirt now, because at first I was like, meh. But, you know, when everything is actually like in its place, it looks pretty good. So in the end, I am happy with this shirt. And will I knit it again? No, probably not. But I'm happy with it. All right, what's next? Oh, long story. Long story I'll try to make short. So this winter in Nashville has been cray, right? It's been rain, a day of sunshine, rain, a couple days of sunshine, right? Like since October, right? And then we had that polar vortex mess going on over here in the States. And Nashville got, I don't know, somewhere in the zeros. I know, definitely was not a minus 50 like in Chicago and over there. I know people over there. I was genuinely worried about them. But for here, it was freaking cold. And I was like, I was tripling up on my socks, you know, because I have those thin cute socks that you see at Joann's or Michael's. And then I had my fuzzy socks on and my feet were freezing. And then I have like these slippers that are like, I don't know what they're made out of. I know it's acrylic, but like, it's like fuzzy on the inside or whatever. But they make my feet sweat. So I'm just like, okay. And then when you take them off, then your feet are freezing because your feet were sweaty. I know this is kind of TMI, but hey, that's how I do. So I decided that I was going to, for the first time ever, make socks. I'd never, ever, ever had a desire in my life to make socks. And I've been knitting for 3 years, and everybody talks about socks. I'm just like, whatever. Now, this is the first time I made them, and I just used scrap yarn. This is all my hand-dyed scraps, and just to get the basics down. And I watched video after video after video, and I was just not understanding how to make socks. And then I came across Happy Knits, and I'm going to put everything I talk about down below. Found her tutorial on toe-up socks with a Fliegel heel. Woman's a genius. Like, however, like the way she describes everything clicked in my head. I'm like, thank you so much. I knew going in from all the podcasts I've been watching for the last few years that I wanted to do 2 at a time, magic loop, because I already know, knowing myself, I was going to get second sock syndrome, and I wasn't going to do that. I also know from doing fingerless gloves about a month back that my tension is probably going to be different from one to the other, and then I'll have a size differential. So I figure even if I'm not making a whole sock at one time, because I mean, how many people actually can do that? I was going to, like, if I have any tension problems, at least it'll be consistent between the 2 socks. So that's why I chose that method. And she starts with I think it was a Turkish cast on, and then, you know, you have your increases and Fliegel heel, and then I just did an 1.5 inch 2x1 cuff, and I learned about this cuff. So I was casting off or binding off in pattern, and it was super tight. Like I couldn't even get my foot in there. So I learned not to do that. So what I did for these socks was a combination of, it was Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off and in pattern. So like half of these are like that and half of it's in pattern. And it actually worked out perfect because I wanted them to be a little snug around the calf. So that's what I learned from there. And I wore the crap out of these the first week. And, you know, even though I washed these, they still look like pooty poo. And there's pilling, and this is actually untreated merino, and so I already know they're not going to hold up. Like I said, I just grabbed some scraps. I knew they weren't going to hold up. I'm not going to save them for posterity. So I wore the crap out of them. I'm still going to wear the crap out of them, and I'm sure I'll have to darn them in a couple weeks. Although we're near the end of February, and down here it'll be summer in a couple weeks, and it'll stay summer until November. So I probably won't even wear these again until next summer. I mean, next winter. But yeah, so I'm happy with the way these came out. So what did I do? I casted another pair of socks. I don't know if I'm going to end up being like, obsessed with socks and casting on all the socks and all that. But again, my own hand dyed. This is actually like maybe the third or fourth skein of yarn that I ever dyed. So that's why it looks a little, everything's bleeding into each other and it looks kind of weird and whatever. But I'm not going to wear these in my shoes. They are only for in the house. I'm one of those people who likes to wear my socks and my sandals in the house. I don't do that out in public. You do you. That's not what I do. I can't wear these socks in my sandals. So these end up being like my slippers around the house. So that's all it's for. So I'm probably never ever going to use good yarn, or it's always going to be a reject or scraps or something that I'm going to make socks with. But this time I decided to play around. I did a different cast on this time, and it was one where like you kind of go in and out on the two needles, and then you knit. And I messed up, and so I've got like this, I don't know if you can see it. I got this line going on, but actually it's not that, I kind of like it. So I stuck with it. And then I decided to just make a little design on both sides, and they're mirroring each other. And right now I'm on the heel increases. So, yeah, I'm excited because, like, I never understood the obsession with socks, and then I tried it on, and I was like, oh my God, it's like butter. Oh, I understand the obsession. I get it. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be one of those people who's always got socks on the go, but I'm understanding the obsession with the sock thing. I'm getting it. So, another thing I'm working on, this is part of that knit along that I'm doing too. So this is for the category knit a gift for a friend. Oh, that color is actually pretty close. Ooh, do you tangent? This color is so hard to photograph. It's not even funny. Like, OMG. I can't stand it. But it's coming up. I guess maybe because of this, I don't know, with the sun and everything, but it's coming up pretty accurate. So it's this is my own hand dyed. I do not have this in the shop. I'm thinking about bringing it to the shop though, but it's an emerald green with a little bit of black. And this is the Susan scarf. I don't remember who made it. It's on my project page because this is the second time I'm making it. And so, yeah. So you're not really going to be able to see the lace because, it's all. But that's the yarn. And it's, I'm going to call this Oh So Wicked because obvi, right? So yeah. And another thing I'm working on for the knit along. This is my first top-down sweater ever. So I found this pattern by Vanessa Smith on Ravelry, and I fell in love with, I don't know if I can wear it without losing my needles. Let's see if I can do this. I fell in love with this, with the top of this. Oh no. No. Okay. And I love this neckline. Like, oh my God, this is what made me this. And then there's cables going down the front. And that's what made me love this pattern. Oh, good. I only lost 2. Okay, good. No drops. All right. So this is my first top down. And so it's been interesting because I'm not completely understanding the whole, well, for a while there, I was not understanding like the markers and the raglan increases and all that. I actually had to put it down for a while and not look at it for weeks and then look back at it because it just was not, I almost ripped it out because I thought I was doing something wrong. And I was like, okay, well, these other people understand it. How come I'm not getting it? I know it's me because I've never done this before. So I finally understood it and I was like, yes, because I dyed all this yarn for it. This is by Ichiban, Polymer DK. And I dyed up all this yarn for this sweater and I'm like, no, I dyed up all this yarn and I don't want to rip this out. And I love the neckline, and I was like, I have to be able to figure this out. I got to figure it out. I got to look at it one more time. And I'm glad I did because I finally caught on. And so I started with the cabling, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it without losing my stitches. Oh my goodness. Okay. Maybe. Yeah, you can kind of see it. It's starting to come out. It's like, you know, right here. But I'm loving it. Loving this pattern. I really hope I can get the shaping right because it's kind of hourglassy. So I'm glad I got that shaper because I'm going to need it. But I'm thinking when I'm done, it's going to look pretty good. I don't have any of that yarn in my shop because I need it all for that sweater. If I have any left, then I will put it in the shop. But I do have one skein that I dyed a few months ago that I put with a 4 skein gradient set. I usually do 5, but this time I did 4. And this is that same color, Ichiban. And then it goes with, I think this was African Violet. And then this was Azalea. And this was Petal Pink. I think that's really pretty. So I only have one set of these. If anyone's interested, I have free shipping all the time. And this would make a really nice fade. Or, yeah, I think fade would be a nice fade. I'm looking around. I don't think I have anything else left, which is good because I think my battery's going to die again. I still haven't figured out my camera phone situation thing. It's probably going to be a while because I don't have time. But yeah, let's see if there's anything else. I think that's it. So have a great week, and I will see you soon. Bye.